we have got to talk about how insane the Critics' Choice Awards were. I mean, this one was one for the ages. It's incredibly fair to say that this is one of the craziest CCAs, especially in recent memory. I found this ceremony to be incredibly strange, but also pretty exhilarating. I won't lie to you. The Critics' Choice Awards feel like they go really safe and they try to predict the Academy Awards, and throughout the year you're tracking critics groups and seeing what they're doing, and then sometimes you're shocked when you get to the Critics' Choice Awards that you don't really see some of those wins translate. Well, that was not the case last night. A lot of those wins did translate during the ceremony, and it also just added to the absolute movie of an award season that this is, just in terms of the overall insanity. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch the first half of this thing live, and I couldn't really react in real time, so we're just going to kind of go over the wins today and what I think about them in terms of what they mean for the Academy Awards down the line. So I'm not going to go in any particular order, but I will start with the first award of the night that I saw, which was Conclave winning Ensemble. I feel like a lot of people predicted this. I thought with the amount that they loved Wicked or the amount they loved Anora, you might see one of those two happen here. I think I predicted Anora, but I think Conclave is a very, very fair win. On the topic of Ensemble, let's just stay in the categories here. We had our same 4 winners from the Golden Globes. So Zoe Saldana takes Best Supporting Actress. She went up there, gave the speech, kind of talked about Emilia Perez. There's a whole vibe around Emilia Perez. We'll talk more about that later, but I'm happy for Zoe. She's the best part of that movie. Don't love the movie, but I think this is an incredible career thing for it. I think Grande still has a chance to take SAG, and then we'll see what BAFTA does and the Oscars do. But I feel like, much with the rest of these acting categories to talk about in just a second, it feels like this could be the start of the sweep. We have Kieran Culkin, who took Supporting Actor again. Once again, I think SAG could go a different way, but if it doesn't, he's going to ride this thing all the way to the Oscars, in my opinion. But look out for someone like Edward Norton at SAG. He just, I don't know, they really love The Complete Unknown at SAG, and Norton, has a really, really solid career, so could be his time. Lead actor went to Adrian Brody. It was really funny. He ripped a shot before he went on stage, and he proved he could talk in the Hungarian accent. It was actually kind of a fun win and fun speech, but I really love this performance. I have been saying it's going to ride all the way to the Academy Awards. Some people thought Chalamet might happen here. Some people think Chalamet might happen at SAG. I will believe that when I see it. I think this is Adrian Brody's to lose, and honestly, rightfully so. I think it's the best acting performance of the year. Lead actress went to Demi Moore. There were still people holding on to Mikey Madison for Anora. Now, you will get the last laugh here. I will say that. But I think ever since she won the Globe, it just felt like it became her award to win. I predicted her. A lot of people were still predicting Mikey Madison for this, which, Madison gives a great performance. The critics really went out for her. But after that Globe, Demi Moore really started taking over with critics group's wins, and you saw it tonight. She's definitely going to win SAG, BAFTA most likely, and I think Demi Moore is going to be your Academy Award winner. Let's ride this substance high a little bit, though, because a couple big things happened. Of course, it ended up winning Best Makeup and Hairstyling. We knew that was going to happen. Incredible work by that entire team, both for Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley. But the biggest win and the coolest win of the night was when Coralie Farjan wins Best Original Screenplay for The Substance. Wish I could have captured my reaction to this, because I was so elated. I really, really thought this was Anora's award. I think everyone under the sun predicted this for Original Screenplay. So what a win for The Substance here. And I'm sitting here thinking that, wow, I think it actually has a shot for the Academy Award as well. I still feel like the Oscar is going to go to Anora and Sean Baker, but at this point, this is an incredible win for The Substance. The speech was incredible, what Coralie was talking about, how it's such a personal story, how it's such an important story for human beings right now that could feel really relatable, especially at this time. And I do think that can resonate going forward at these later award shows with these voting bodies. So then we move into Adapted Screenplay, Conclave. I think this is going to ride all the way to the Academy Award. It's a really, really wordy, clever, kind of sharp script. It's got some comedy in there. They like that. So this is a pretty solid win for Conclave, and I think this will be your eventual Oscar winner. Just want to speed through some other ones quickly. Shout out to Wicked winning production design and costumes. I feel like you'll see those at the Oscars as well. They love those fantastical sets. They really pulled off something cool. They really transported you, in my opinion. So really, really good wins. The other voting bodies continue to show the Academy that they were silly not nominating challengers for anything. It wins editing and score here. That score win, so important. It is the score of the year. I mean, that thing has sustained for almost an entire year since that film came out, I think in April. I mean, so I love that it's winning everywhere else. It's a damn shame it's not going to show up or win at the Academy Awards, because it absolutely should. Love this editing win too. I wish it happened at the Oscars. What Luca and his team did with that movie was so innovative. It was so dynamic. Loved it. I wish Challengers came out in a different year and at a different time, because I think this would be a movie that got some serious love by more awards bodies, especially the Academy. Second favorite win of the night, Nosferatu in cinematography. People were predicting this, and I held back kind of like a wuss at the end because I'm like, no, they're going to go for the Brutalist. Like, they're going to go for something that they, probably will think win the Oscar. I think this gave Nosferatu a lot of juice in cinematography. We'll see if it could win somewhere else like AFC or BAFTA, and maybe it can win the Oscar. It would be one of the coolest wins of the year at the Academy Awards if they were to give Nosferatu cinematography, my opinion. Some other ones that we figured would happen, Dune wins VFX. I just love that Dune Part 2 is winning something. Its erasure during this award season has been just a tragedy to see, so I'm glad it's still able to pick up some wins in some places. Wild Robot wins animated too. That's something that we knew. I like it. I would have personally went for like Memoir of a Snail. I love that movie, but shout out to the Wild Robot. I think it's that or Flow the rest of the season. We'll see what happens. The Oscars really like Flow though because they put it in international, so I would actually, for the Oscar, I would actually lean Flow. Young actress, we have Maisie Stella for My Old Ash. She's phenomenal in that movie. The thing I hate about the Critics' Choice is they'll like flash certain wins on the screen, and hers was one that they kind of just showed and it cuts her and the audience smiled. I wish she went up there and was able to give a speech. They need to fix that. A lot of the tech categories too, they just put on the screen. Not a fan of that. And I'm sorry, the funniest win of the night was the tie in Best Comedy for A Real Pain, which like well deserved. But Deadpool and Wolverine, it ties with Deadpool and Wolverine, yeah. No disrespect to Deadpool Wolverine. I liked the movie a lot. I had a lot of fun with it. I am a fan. You see me, I'm a comic book fan. I'm a fan who likes to be serviced. There's been like 40 Marvel movies. I enjoyed that movie for what it was. I have the popcorn bucket. But to have it tie with something like A Real Pain in Best Comedy, and when you see some of the movies that were up for Best Comedy, I just find it hilarious that like this organization, like Deadpool Wolverine, got the same amount of votes as A Real Pain for this. Like, that's just crazy to me, but like, go off CCA. So we're gonna have to talk about the elephant in the room. Amelia Perez wins Best Song for El Mal, and this was actually probably the most painfully uncomfortable moment of the night because as they were reading the nominees, it was like in the middle. They said the names of the people in the song, and Carla Sofia Gascon's name came up, and there was no applause, no cheers. They just went right into whatever song was nominated next. And then when it won, the individual accepting the award gave this really, I hate to say this, but it was a really uncomfortable speech where she started singing like I'm a bird or something. The audience looked incredibly uncomfortable. It was dead silent. And then when she left, there wasn't really applause after that. So I think that just kind of shows you there is this stench around Amelia Perez still. And then Amelia Perez wins Best International Feature, and Jacques Audiard goes up there and like was kind of pretentious. He was like, oh, I have 3 speeches. That's a little presumptuous of me, and was like being all French and stuff. And once again, talking about the movie in a way that just didn't feel helpful for this moment in time. We should add the voting for this ended on January 30th. So that was before all this controversy. So any sort of impact that we'll see with what's happening with Amelia Perez, we'll see later down the line, not necessarily right now. So if you're holding out hope that this movie doesn't win anything, stay in line. If you're excited that this movie is winning stuff, good for you. But now it's time to talk about the 2 biggest shocking holy shit moments that have solidified this Critics' Choice Awards as one for the ages, for better or worse, depending on who you ask. John Chu winning Best Director. There were 8 people nominated. John Chu wins this award. He's not nominated anywhere else. And you know what? The first thing I'll say is I'm very happy for him. I loved the speech. I do love Wicked. And I do think this is a really nice, inspired win for this voting body because they really loved Wicked. And this could be the moment during the season where the film and Chu, for really pulling off something incredible, let's be honest, one of the most beloved musicals ever, big risk, big swings, taking it to the big screen, and it was successful as it was. So I do think some recognition is warranted, and this was the place to do it. That being said, I don't know how this motherfucker won. I'm saying that in the best way. Of all these 8 people, you had Corbett, you had Baker, you had Audiard. Clearly, there's still passion for Amelia Perez. You had Denny for Dune, Ramel Ross. So, Corley for Jean, when you see that they gave her screenplay, right, and that Demi Moore was winning, it is kind of wild to think Edward Berger for Conclave, right? So, what I'm thinking is like one of 2 things happened. A lot of people are talking about vote splitting in a lot of these categories because the critics seemed all over the place, and during the season there were really some inspired wins in places and a lot of love for Wicked in places. I could see that. At the same time, it does feel like people just really, really liked Wicked in the Critics' Choice Association. So that makes sense to me that they would all pick this category. They were maybe looking at their ballots in other places and went, hey, this is the moment we're going to give it to John Chu. This is the big win we're going to give Wicked during this whole season. Fair. And somehow even crazier than that, but also incredibly predictable. And that's why this show felt insane, because Anora ends up winning Best Picture, which does correlate. It did have the most critics group wins for picture. However, just when you think about how these award shows and voting bodies work, it won nothing else but picture. And it does feel pretty insane, right? Madison wasn't enough to beat Demi Moore. They didn't even give Baker screenplay, which felt like the layup for him going into this whole season. And as the season has progressed so far, I mean, the Globes didn't go with him, but you know what I mean? So that was really fascinating, for no other wins, and then to have it take home the big prize. Not as high on Anora as most people, and I don't dislike it. I like the movie. I just don't love it, nor do I think it's kind of this, has to win Best Picture, Best Movie of the Year masterpiece that some people have it as. And if you do, that's totally fine. But for me, this win made sense because, like I said, the critics groups. I still am of the belief this is just not an Academy Award Best Picture winning movie. I think this is the place it was going to win. Now, if it performed better here, I would tell you down the line there might be some things that happen, but I still think at the Academy Awards you're only going to see this win screenplay. And I'm still someone who, especially after last night, am looking at the substance versus this in screenplay. However, there is a pretty reliable statistic that everything that wins Best Picture at Critics' Choice Awards eventually wins at least one Oscar. So if you're predicting the Oscars early right now, I would predict Anora for original screenplay. But yeah, pretty insane, to say the least. Does it tell us a lot about the rest of the season going forward? Not necessarily. I think it actually was a more accurate representation of where critics have been the whole season, and I do respect that. I respect this organization for actually sticking with their guns and what they have been doing for the last 2 months in terms of their awards. But as per usual, SAG and BAFTA are where you're really going to see things that start tipping towards what might happen at the Academy Awards. This award season has truly been a movie. Like, it has. It's went from like really wild to controversial and disturbing, and then last night was like the most WTF ceremony that there's been in a while. So I guess let's pray for some more. Not more normalcy. I think I want more chaos at SAG and BAFTA. I think now I'm just fully subscribed to this insanity of the season. So let's just ride into the Oscars with complete uncertainty and terror and fear and exhilaration. I say we do it. Let's all ride that train together. But I want to know your thoughts on this Critics' Choice Award ceremony. What were some of your favorite wins? What were some of the most insane losses or surprises to you? And what do you hope to see the rest of this award season? From the bottom of my heart, thank you for watching as always, and can't wait to hang out with you again really, really soon.